Hello everybody, this is Kyrix, and this is another episode of This Week in Kyrix. And I have good news this week. Alrighty, John has a job-ish. Now, he's going through day labor, so it's not promised to him. But he has repeated employment. Oh, that's not as bad. I thought it was forced variances. But we're going to leave that alone because I just realized that's obsidian, so cracking that's going to be damn near impossible. So we're not going to fuck with that anymore for a while. But we are going to do is test a theory. I do have it with me. Good. Why do I not? Oh. Anyway, okay, cool. I can. Very good. But you got this. Anyway, he's going through day labor, so it's not guaranteed to him to have this work. But he does, in fact, have work. And it's basically suggested through day labor that he will have multiple days of work there. The guy he's going to has basically promised him at least 3 days this week. So he will have repeatments, which is very nice. And allegedly, okay, sorry, I need to count these. Anyway, allegedly, if he works there for 90 days, which seems a little strange with day labor, but if he's liked there, he'll basically be requested back or taken back several times, I'm guessing. But if he works there 90 days and they like him, then he's basically eligible for full-time employment there, which would be fucking awesome. He's working out systems with the guy. Like, they didn't need him yesterday, which sucks for us, but, I mean, there's nothing John can do about that. The guy, he called the guy's like, well, we don't need you today, because they had to cut back on a lot of their regular employees on several shifts, and the guy needs to make sure they get their hours too, which completely understandable, you know? I mean, you can't just give some guy from day labor all of your employees' hours, but again, he might become a full-time employee. So we're hoping he will get there enough that it'll be a fairly regular thing for him until it becomes a full-time regular thing for him. But everything starts somewhere, and, well, we're starting there. So John has some money coming in. And they are at least 8 hours, so 3 times 8. Basically, he's guaranteed 24 hours this week. Guaranteed. Now, whether he'll make the rest of the 40, who can say? But hey, you gotta start somewhere. It's day labor, it's baby steps. And we all knew that day labor wouldn't be exactly guaranteed. So, nothing he can do about it, nothing we can do about it, but wait and hope. So, whatever we gotta do is what we'll do. Again, on the plus side, it's work. Work is good. Work is very good. On the flip side, it's not super reliable yet. We'll have to wait a couple days and see how the day labor itself plans out, because for all we know, the fact that it's day labor won't really hinder him at all, you know? Because they go, oh, hey, John, you worked for these guys, they like you so far, so we're going to keep sending you out to these guys reliably. And he'll be like, okay, that's really awesome, because we need the money. So, this is the first time I've ever seen day labor up close, especially with someone fairly new to it. But progress is progress, and progress is good. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In other news, Kyrix has been getting some work done of his own. It's not employment work, but hey, it's my job, such as it is. Do wish I got paid for it, though. That would rock. But can't have everything. Now, I have finished the story of Dead Rising 2. And I have finished overtime mode of Dead Rising 2. Which means I have beaten the entire game of Dead Rising 2, but I am not done yet. There is more yet to be done. What, you might ask? Well, I accomplished every full-on story thing that there was to do. That much I'm pretty sure of. However, I did not accomplish everything, because there were several survivors that I'm still missing, like 20-something. I missed a couple psychopaths, namely the redneck snipers. I didn't get any of them, because I was so busy running around, I didn't really have the fucking time. You know, not my fault. Honestly, I'm amazed that I never missed a single mission. Because the redneck snipers don't really count as a mission, they're just on the map until the military shows up. So yeah, that's the thing. So what I'm doing is right now, well, not right now, but as soon as I'm done with this, I have to go back to it. I'm grinding off screen, an arduous process, mind you, to get $2 million in game. And it's exactly as much fun as you think it is, but it needs to be done. When I do that, I will have the Arthur boots, which is the last of the Knight armor set. Because I have the armor from beating the game on S mode, which was an ordeal. Let's just say it was an ordeal. Those last 2 bosses fucking suck. But I did it. And that's something that really can't be taken away from me now. That is on my gaming resume that I have beaten this game on S rank. I have, in my first run, effectively gotten 100% almost, and the best ending. So, yay me. Especially since I said several times, this is not going to be a 100% run, this is not going to be a 100% run. Because the first time I played the game, I was rushed, and I'm like, oh, I can't get this mission, I can't get this, I can't beat this boss, etc. And through sheer determination and trial and error, I beat all the bosses that I came up against, except for the hidden ones, which I didn't know how to find. And there were a couple that popped up on a few runs, and then when I had to reload the save, didn't pop up again, so the fuck knows what that's all about. Like, Randy Tugman, who's this, crazy guy in a pig mask and a chainsaw who tries to marry a woman so that he won't be a virgin anymore. Because his father's a preacher and basically made him wait till marriage, so he's like, fine, the world's ending. I want to get married so I won't die a virgin. So. But, that fight for some reason never stuck. Because while I was doing another mission is when it kept popping up, and then it just never popped back up. Not my fault. I tried, you know? But, yeah, that's very much a thing. Well, I just want to, since I have so many of these that I can actually do it, I want to plot the growth of this thing, see how long it's going. But yeah, anytime a mission popped up and stayed up, that's important to mention, I accomplished it. I didn't think I would, and as a result, for 90% of the game, I'm scrambling, just going from mission to mission. Not really having any time to fuck around and explore, because when? You know? When am I gonna fuck around? When am I gonna explore? Nothing I can really do there, you know? But against all odds, I did it. And there was a point halfway through the game where I realized that I basically have been 100%ing it. I'm like, well, fuck it, I'll go the rest of the way. Since I have so much of the game done, I will endeavor to show off the rest of it. I will get all the survivors that I can get. I will get all the psychopaths that I can get. And I will give Katie all the presents I can find, and I'll do this, and I'll do that. It's just, what all can I accomplish? And the answer's been a lot, really. I can accomplish quite a bit. So yeah, I'm proud of myself. Which shows that there are 4 Let's Plays that are basically in free play mode at this point. Because I've got Dead Rising 2, which is actually in basically free play mode. Like, in my grinding session, for example, I have let the story expire. So I have, effectively, 72 hours to just gain 2 million. And if I fail to, then I will load up another save and do it again. Keeping the money I have until I get my 2 million, so I can get the Arthur books. And it's actually going rather well, because when you have the 3 gambling books, certain slot machines can be triggered for basically anywhere from 1,500 to 4,000 per try. And if I hit the ones with money in front of them, and again, the reason I say from is like one of them is 1,500, one's 2,000, you know, one's 4,000. And if I hit the right ones, like say Yachts of Fun is 4,000 in the Atlantic. But if I keep hitting on a regular basis, it's not too bad because I'm guaranteed 3 to 7 wins each time I play. Which can be difficult with zombies swarming you, but not impossible, you know? So, yeah, I'm in free play mode there. Me and John are like 4 story missions away on Jurassic World from being in free play mode there. I'm in free play mode on Digimon World. And Harvest Moon exists in free play mode, you know? The quote-unquote story mode of that game's kind of laughable. I love the game, but calling it a story mode is a little laughable because the qualifications to beat it are a joke. It's like, oh, just ship like 11 types of crops, which is almost everything once in 3 years. Get 1 girl to like you, or marry one, which will flat out get you in. And ship out 101 things or 111 things, which, again, so easy to do. You could technically just run like 3 fields a year and still beat that fucking game. Which means I've been overachieving in a big way. But once you get the guides I've seen, and again, I have to go off the guides because I've never beaten the story myself. I've never played that long. But the guides also say, oh, and if you marry a girl, you're just in. You just guaranteed a slot, you know. Townspeople have to accept you. Which makes sense. They can't very well kick the girl out of her home, you know. Like, well, you married Karen / Papuri / Mary / Anne / Ellie. We have to let you stay, because otherwise we're kicking her out. You know? And the qualifications for marrying are just so simple. Like, for example, Papuri, you can have her just yours, completely yours, by the end of Summer 1. It's literally that simple. Now, you have to work a bit, because you need to earn a lot of money to pay for the house upgrade that will allow you to get married. And you need to chop a lot of wood, or buy a lot of wood, which I can do either one. I mean, I have just chopped it, but at this point I could buy every upgrade again, and buy the upgrade for every upgrade, or buy the wood for every upgrade again, and not negatively impact my money very hard, to the point where I'm ever hurting for cash. I think I have something along the lines of $250,000 in Harvest Moon right now, which is a ludicrous sum, really. It's very impressive. But, yeah. So yeah, that's 4 games that are pretty much done. Honestly, I'm a week away from Winter 2, the second winter on Harvest Moon, which that's gonna go by so fucking fast, because most of my time is spent just dealing with crops. And in winter, there are no crops. So what the fuck do you do? Answer? Whatever you want. Pretty much whatever you fucking want. Not exactly the answer you were expecting, but there it is. Yeah? Oh, that's what that is. So, yeah, it's kind of a thing. Kind of an impressive thing, really. But after so long of me not doing anything, now I'm doing everything, and it's gratifying. Let's be perfectly honest, it's fucking gratifying to know that I'm getting so much done. After so much inactivity to get so much fucking done, it just kinda makes me happy to know that I'm back in the swing of things. Because I completely understand where John was coming from, because John for months was saying, I need to get a job because I'm going fucking stir crazy in here. It's not even just that we need the money, it's the fact that he has nothing to do. Which is one of the reasons he pounced on helping me with Jurassic World. Because I mentioned I couldn't get Anubis up, he was like, well, shit, I'll do it. I'm like, well, okay. It's the fact that he wants something to do, and I need something to do. I mean, this is my chosen profession. I don't get paid for it. I wish I did. If I did, that would be all of our problems solved, you know? I mean, shit, if I were to get, say, an hourly wage for Let's Play, which I don't, but let's for the sake of argument, say that I did. That would solve everything, because Dead Rising 2, I just pumped 15 fucking hours into that game. You know? Over a period of 3 days, sure, but I did. Harvest Moon, fuck, let me just look here. Oh good, I did start the timer. I'm like, did I start my timer? I don't know. Harvest Moon, not counting the most recent episode, because I've stuffed them all in a folder right now. Harvest Moon, I have pumped. Bunch of my details. Jesus Christ. 53 hours, let's say 55 altogether in Harvest Moon. Digimon. So 55 plus 15, let's call that 70 hours for those two. Digimon World 17, let's call it 18, so 88 hours. Jurassic World. Another 13 hours, so 88 plus 13. Now let's say we're doing Florida's, I think it's $7.50 an hour minimum wage thing. That's $757.50. That is my actual fucking disability check and a little bit extra. If I were getting an hourly wage for this shit, with the hours that I'm clocking in, then John wouldn't need a job, because between Mom's check, my check, and fucking Let's Play, that would be everything right there. I could fucking maintain this thing. And keep in mind, that sums up just a couple weeks of work. I can easily chunk. If this were something I were getting paid hourly for, I would put in the hours. I'd put in a 40-hour work week every work week. Or every week. Hell, I'd put in 8 hours a day at least. 8 times 7, that's a 56-hour work week. $7.50 an hour, that's a lot, you know? So yeah, I wish this paid, but... there are people who could get away with that. Like, people who could just be dedicated Let's Players, and that could be their sole job. I'm not one of them. I'm not popular enough. By far, I am not popular enough. And that's not even a dig on me, it's just, I don't pull those kind of numbers. You know? And it's hard to do that. It's hard to pull those kind of numbers. But there are people who could. The Runaway guys could do it, absolutely. Slowbeef could do it. Luca could do it. I've seen one of her fucking streams. She could absolutely do this shit. Peacock could do it. During his Dead Rising stream with Proton John, which I think took place over the period of about 3 days to a week, he raised $700. You know, for a new computer. I wish I had the fandom that I could do stuff like that, where I could just make money happen. But I don't. And nothing against my fans, I just don't have the popularity of the people who could do these kind of things, you know? I wish I did. And even still, that's on a stream, which I can't really pull. I would love to get the kind of numbers where I could have a stream with several hundred people chipping in and just, hey, get Kyrix a new computer, or hey, get Kyrix's lights on, you know? He needs to make the power bill, help him, he's like 150 short. But it's not really right of me to make my fans do that kind of shit. That's my responsibility. I'm the kind of person who might have a donate button up, but that's as far as I would take it, really, because again, it's not your fucking job to keep me in thing. It's one thing to get a new computer for streaming, or to buy me a new game for Let's Playing, but if I can't keep my fucking lights on, that's my damn fault. Which, by the way, right now is our primary goal. If we can get... Oh, shit, that didn't work, did it? If we can get it so that, we can just keep the lights on. We're not as worried about the internet right now, because the internet's already off, nothing we can do about that yet. What we can do is make sure the power doesn't go. If we can get the 300 to cover the power bill before, I think it's the 12th, then I can probably get another extension and tell him, look, my roommate just got a new job, it's paying well right now. We need a little more time to cover this month's bill. Once we're caught up on that, we can do the water bill and get started on next month's power. Once we get those knocked out, we can focus on the cable, and then we can just worry about keeping all our bills active all the time like everybody else in the world. But, hey, it starts somewhere and it starts here. So, I have no complaints. And he told me yesterday, like, I want to go in, but it doesn't need me. I'm like, dude, it's not your fault. You did your part. And that's all I ask of anyone, is do your part. If the employers don't do their part, that's not on you. You know? You went out, you worked your shift. So, and the other thing is, a lot of these places, he works well because he not only is willing to, but wants to work the fucking night shift. You know? And my niece and one of my other friends is on me to get a job, and I kept telling them, look, I shouldn't have to. I'm already paying my way in. I've been paying my way in. I mean, if I want to get a job to get some extra money, that's one thing, but I shouldn't have to get a job just to cover the bills when I'm doing my part, you know? Because again, all I ask is for anyone to do their part. That's all I ask of them, that's all I ask of me. And I've been doing that. And again, I'm not being accusatory here, because it's not like he's had a job this whole time and just hasn't been paying his way, you know? Or that he's had a thing where he could have had a job and just didn't. Even though that's what my niece keeps yelling, like, oh, you could have been out there, you could have done this. And I'm like, woman, I've been asking him to do it, and he's been doing it. There's only so much he can follow up on before it becomes the employer's responsibility to just call him back. If the employer doesn't call him back, he can't do crap about it, you know? That's not on him. If it was up to him, he'd have been employed, you know? But, although, like I said, if it gets bad enough, I have a couple places I would think about applying to. You know? And my niece's like, well, you wouldn't get someone to live in the living room. I'm like, Anubis has already said he would. Because, keep in mind, he's in a similar boat to me financially, as far as how much he makes. He gets pocket change. And I've told him flat out, and I mean this, because I've done the math on it, is we're only short a certain amount each month, you know? Worst case scenario, he's paying $450 a month, which is a damn sight less than he's paying now. So, I mean, if he pays $450 a month, and he gets a check like mine, which we're gonna round it up to about $700, or round it down rather, just $700 even, you know, just for the sake of argument. So let's say he's paying $450 a month here. That leaves him $250 of his own money to do whatever the fuck he wants. I'm not gonna say a word to him, you know. We'll also get him applied to food stamps, you know, so he'll have his own food money. And I might, like, oh, dude, I had to get this. Can I borrow, like, soda money, you know? Or, dude, I completely forgot. Can I get 20 bucks from you to get ramen for the house, just in case? You know? I mean, the only thing we're mildly concerned, well, that I'm mildly concerned with, is his dog, which is a pit bull, but we've seen pit bulls in the neighborhood. I mean, worst case scenario, I would have to talk to management about it, you know? absolute worst case scenario, I would try and beg Skinner to move in with me. I'll tell them, look, you've lived with me before. You'd be paying $450 tops a month, probably less, because that's the thing. I'm big on fairness here, which is you don't pay more than I pay. And there are times when I will pay more than you pay. Like, there have been situations where I've paid $500 a month and Mom has paid like $400, you know? Just because I decided myself to shoulder the extra burden that month. So I tell them, look, this is what you're paying. I don't care if you're pulling in $8,000 a week. You're paying what we're paying. Now, if you want to pay more, I will adore you for it, but I will ask no more of you than I ask of me and Mom, you know? And we will have internet, which he has not had in like 2 years. He's had to basically get internet off his phone's hotspot, or steal it from McDonald's, or go out and work there, or visit a buddy and get it, you know? So, I mean, I'm good, you know? And for whatever reason, my niece keeps wanting, like the other week, she's like, oh, I want to move, etc. We're looking for a place. And I told my mom they're not going anywhere because they have no income, you know? They don't really know anyone right now that will take them in because one of her sisters is out of state. One of her sisters, for one thing, we just threw her out. For another thing, she's currently homeless at the moment, so she can't take her in. And they've got like 7 kids with them and like 5 adults. Plus John and her pets and Kimmy. Well, there, I guess I said her name, but anyway. I don't think they can really go anywhere, and I'm a little mad that all this time, and she's the thing that started that last time, and I don't think it's serious, and neither did Con. It's just a sort of a acting out via stress thing. She's like, I don't know when my bills will be paid, etc. Because allegedly, I never told her we were behind on that. When I'd been saying for days, yeah, we're about to lose our internet and stuff because we haven't paid it in a couple months. And if she didn't hear me, that's her fault. Like, oh, you told me when my sister was here that we were caught up. I'm like, no. I told you that if I hadn't had to get the power immediately turned back, we'd be caught up. I said if she stayed another month, we'd be absolutely caught up, etc. And she kept yelling at me, you should have told us, you should have told us. And I finally snapped and said, look, if I had told you, what difference would it have made? It would have made a difference. I'm like, really? Could you have come up with $272 or whatever it was? And she just kind of sat there for a second. I'm like, yeah, that's what I thought. Because there is no answer to that question. There is no good answer you can give to the question of could you have come up with that money. Because if you say no, I couldn't have come up with that money, then I'm right. It didn't matter if I'd have told you, because you couldn't have done anything. If you could have, then that's bad on you, because that means, oh, you mean we have this thing shut off for nothing. You could have come up with it, you know? And then she's like, we'll never get that thing paid off. I'm like, yeah, we will. Apparently she thinks that I'm operating on a schedule where, oh, we're going to have it on next week. No, we're going to have it on. It's going to take a month or 2, but we're going to have it back on. She's like, well, you're not getting his whole check. I'm like, sweetie, I'm not asking for his whole check. I'm asking for half. I've told him that until we're caught up, I want, whenever he gets a check, I want half to put towards bills. I'm not going to take money from him. I'm not going to rob him blind, because that's part of the reason we're in the situation we're in, which is me and Mom could have been putting an extra $50 out a month, but we would have had no spending money. And it would not have paid even one of the bills between us, you know? That extra $100 would not have paid a bill. It would have put towards a bill, but it would have paid a bill. And I said, basically, that if we're in a situation where we're not going to have lights, I'm at least going to not have lights and have some money, you know? And everyone said, yeah, that's completely understandable. Now, if he's getting a job and he is close, like, for example, this month, it's entirely possible that she and I will be paying $500 each month, each between us. to put onto some of these bills. Because right now, it looks like there's a real chance that we can make an impact on these bills. Because he's got an income coming in, and we've got our incomes. And if that puts towards the power to keep it on, you know, then so be it. But again, she keeps yelling at me about it, and she's offered no solutions. You know, she doesn't have an income. She has her plasma center stuff, but that's... I haven't really been asking for that. They've put half of it towards the house anyway. Like, she's been buying cat litter for her cats and giving me some for Kisa. You know? And it's... Or she's been buying something for the house and getting me stuff. So it's not like it's just going to nothing. Plus, they've paid last month, and they're going to do it this month. They're paid for their laptops, you know? But it's not bill money. It's not something put towards keeping the lights on, keeping the cable on, keeping the water running, you know? And she's been yelling at John, but she hasn't offered anything towards it. And I'm sitting here thinking, it's kind of fucked up that you're bitching about all this. That, oh, I want to leave, I want to leave, I want to leave, because all these problems, and the problems aren't me. I didn't cause these problems. I have never once missed my payments. Never once. The money that I'm supposed to pay, I've paid every month without fail. So, problems can't be laid at my feet. No? And she hasn't really offered anything to go towards it, so... I mean... I don't mean to be accusatory here, but... I mean, she's been staying rent-free, along with him staying mostly rent-free, and she's been, if anything, adding to the bills, because... And she did it with my permission, but she's brought all the cats in here, you know? So we have just kitty cats fucking everywhere right now. We have the new kitty, Oreo. We have Honey, who we've had for a little bit. And apparently... Honey is pregnant on top of everything else. So we got Vanilla, who's pregnant. So we got anywhere from 5 to 7, or 2 to 7 puppies. We're thinking 5, but she's like, oh, I had a dream that they could be as many as 7. I hope that's not true. You know? So we got puppies on the way, and now we got kittens on the way, 2. Plus 3 cats and a dog that are all adults, you know? So, I mean, that's a thing. And unlike the dog, she hasn't offered any argument about the cats being on the payment plan. She agrees that the cats need a vet with a payment plan, like Kisa had. Because it makes a lot more sense for them to be on them. God, I just love how the thing just fucking disappears when the water starts flowing. You know, that's a good thing. But yeah, I mean, she's, and again, I don't mean to be accusatory in this, but it's a case of, if you're gonna snap at me, fix the problem first. Because I've done everything I've been required to do. You know? And technically, if you're not paying into the bills, I shouldn't have to keep you in the loop on the bills. You know? I mean, when I was a kid growing up, Mom didn't tell me all the time, oh, well, power bill was this much this month, and oh, the cable bill's this much, and this is this much, and here's our rent. Like, despite taking the check down, the 2 apartments that we lived at, prior to this, the one I grew up in and the one we moved to after we came back from Crystal River, to this date, I don't know how much our rent was there. I have no idea, because I've never been cued in on that, you know? Because I didn't pay the bills. And I was only a kid for part of that, you know? I mean, I was a little kid, but I mean, I was 18 by the time we left the second apartment, you know? And even then, when I had a short-term job, my mom had taken half my check for the bills. You know, she let me keep the biggest check that I had, which turned out to be the only big check I ever had, because the manager was basically only hiring me to cut costs, so as soon as I was doing something that required her to pay me a real wage, she had to stop doing that. But, yeah, I mean, what do you want? But again, I mean, I'm perfectly willing to keep her in the loop on this shit. She just... It's just that, you know... Don't get pissy with me about it. It's like, oh, I don't know when my lights are gonna be off, and that's not my fault. You should just, if one thing, she should just be aware that her lights are gonna be off, her fucking cable is gonna be off until we get an income, and she should just know that. Because we knew coming in we would need a third income. And we got this place with the understanding that John would have that income, you know? It's not completely his fault that he hasn't had it, you know? Because he has been applying to places. It's just no callbacks, and it's kind of hard to call back now when you don't have a dedicated phone line. So they've been using free phone for that. But again, this is actually good news. I mean, I know I keep harping on negative crap, but that's just because now I can without overtly worrying. Now, there's still an element of worry, because again, he's guaranteed 3 days this week, but 3 days is only about 24 hours. Now, if he gets more, if he starts working there consistently, then we're fine, you know? And, I mean... My niece keeps saying, oh, you can't have his full check, etc., and I don't want it, but there may be a time in the very immediate future when one of these whole checks is just going to have to go towards that, depending on how close we are to the bills. You know? And again, he says the problem's mostly with him, because she's like, he basically told me, don't even let it fool you that she's mad at you or anything. She's not. She's mad at me, and she's taking it out on you. But, I mean, I kind of want to tell her, look, it's his check. You can do what the fuck you want with it. When you get your check, which she's trying to do, get her Social Security check, if she gets that, she's going to be required to pay into it, but she's only going to have as much as any of us. And I'm kind of hoping that she gets it soon. Because if she has hers, and I have mine, and Mom has hers, and John has his actual job, that's a 4-way split on the bills. You know? And if she doesn't want to pay into the house, I'll tell her, look, it's kind of shitty that you've asked us to support you this whole time and haven't paid in. Now, granted, it's because you couldn't, but, you know, originally, when we were back at the trailer, she basically said, oh, I'll pay in via housework, and basically driving people with the car, which she did. Well, she got arrested, and the car got impounded and destroyed. But, and when we moved here, she hasn't done much housework. She basically made John do most of it. And John has been fine with that, especially the cooking. John likes to cook, so John does most of the cooking in the house. Like when we have these massive goulash meals, which we just had one of, lasted like 4 days of food. But he does that because I can't cook that many pounds of hamburger at once. I can't... We found out I physically can't stir 6 pounds of noodles plus how much hamburger plus tomato juice, you know? I think he had something in the neighborhood of 8 pounds of... I tried to stir that to no avail, you know? Of course, it's also the fact that I was only taught how to fry meat in a frying pan, and he'd been cooking it in an actual pot. I mean, I don't even know how to do that, so... But again... And for my niece, I'm sorry that it sounds like I'm bitching about her, because I really don't have any complaints about her. I wish she'd lighten up a bit, because she's yelling at John for shit. Basically, she's mad at John for shit that I'm not mad at John for, you know? Like, oh, he's not following up on this, and I just want to tell her, look, are any of these bills in your name? No, they're in my name. Am I screaming at people? No? Then you don't get to. The only one who's allowed to scream about these bills not being paid is me, because they're in my name. I'm the one who this impacts negatively upon if they're not paid on time, because it makes me look bad. And I'm suffering through this as much as anyone. I effectively have a career. It's an unpaid career, but it's a career that requires me to be on the internet. You know? And I don't have the internet. I have events I run that require me to be on the phone, to talk to my friends, to confirm schedules and whatnot. Phone. You know? Lost the cable box? Not so much. That doesn't hurt me. I'm just fortunate that we're in the middle of the pony hiatus that it hit when it hit. Because otherwise I wouldn't even have my TV show. You know? I mean, at least I don't have a shortage of things to do. I have a lot of videos to watch. Some of which are from YouTube. Some of which are not. Like, I was watching... I keep mentioning this in Dead Rising, but I was watching Pico and Proton John play Dead Rising 2. I grabbed Pico's 7.5-something hour stream of the Super Nintendo Jurassic Park, which is fun. It's just him and Josh Jepson playing that. Well, him playing while Josh talks to him. You know? So I've got things to watch. I've got my Yu Yu Hakusho DVD collection out. I haven't started watching it yet, but it's out. I also have the DVD for Cats out. Because I figure I can put that on the background. And I probably will while I'm playing Dead Rising 2 while I'm grinding, just listen to Cats. Because Cats doesn't need to be watched. It's a musical, you know? You can watch the people dance in their colorful cat costumes, but you don't need to. It's just enjoy the music. It's a fucking musical. It's what it's there for. And Cats is one of those musicals that's a full-on musical, unlike, say, Newsies or Little Shop of Horrors, which is mostly a musical. I mean, there's almost no dialogue that isn't sung in Cats, and it's only to set up the next song anyway. But that's one of those where if you have the soundtrack, you don't need the movie. Kind of wish I had the soundtrack downloaded or something, because then I could just absolutely listen to it and not put the DVD in, etc. Yeah, so yeah, I don't have a shortage of things to do, and like I said, the loss of the internet, as frustrating as it is, has actually been good for me, because it means I have less distractions, less things to take up my time, so I can actually focus on recording. Like, I have knocked out so many videos since losing the internet. Not to say that in the past month, when I had the internet, but I wasn't getting anything done because I've been doing Harvest Moon, I've been doing Digimon, I've been doing, well, me and John have been doing Jurassic World as well, but I've been doing work. I just haven't been doing as much because, like, ooh, I can watch this, I can watch that, I can watch this. I also finally watched Goku and Superman's rematch on Death Battle, and I still call it bullshit. Because I call bullshit not from Death Battle. Again, I don't blame Death Battle for this. I blame the writers of Superman. Because everyone's like, oh, Superman's meant to have no limits, and I don't believe that. I don't believe that Superman's meant to have no limits, because I remember old Superman. Like, because to me, they operate only on the comics, and comics, I don't, oddly enough, I don't count comics as strongly, simply because there is no one person. There is no one guy for Superman who says, okay, this flat out, no, you can't do this. You know? Like for, Gold Digger. Let's use that, another comic. Fred Perry has these characters. If for some reason he had someone else take over, he could say, no, Brittany can't do that. You know? And Brittany can't do that. You know, that's, Charlotte's not that fast, she's not that strong, she couldn't lift a tank over her head, you know? And it wouldn't happen. Whereas each writer can have one character do something completely different. Like, certain writers are better than others. Like, Green Lantern, for example. I think the name was Jeff Johns or whatever. That character came alive under him. Jeff Johns, and I apologize if that's the wrong name. Basically, before him, Green Lantern was just kind of a peripheral thing. He was an important character, to be sure, but not a mainstream character. But Jeff Johns is the one who came up with the War of Light, the concept of the War of Light. Jeff Johns gave us the Sinestro Corps. He gave us the entities. He gave us the Orange Lanterns, the Red Lanterns, the Blue Lanterns, Indigo, Star Sapphires as an actual group and not just a singular entity. He gave us the White and Black Lanterns. He didn't give us Necron, but he brought Necron to life, ironically enough. Because Necron was just some minor villain, and he turned into the biggest threat, you know? So, I don't buy this whole Superman has no limits. I say, no, Superman has limits. It's just his writers have no fucking sense of scale. Like they said, okay, here's an example of how ridiculous Superman is, how ridiculously overpowered he is. He was in a thing like 47 light years away. Jimmy Olsen called him on his thing, which Superman heard from 47 light years away, and was there in, like, say, 10 minutes, you know? Or, he and Shazam lifted a book with infinite pages, so it had infinite weight, and here's Spectre, who's made of eternity, and Wonder Woman was lifting it, and they mentioned that, at best, they were only carrying half the weight, and Boomstick's like, hey Wiz, what's half of infinity? Exactly, you know, that's bullshit. I think a more fair example of what Superman's powers are is what you see in other media. Fuck did a chicken come from? Hello? Welcome, I guess? But no, I think that's a more fair example of what Superman's real powers are, is to say, what's he like in these other medias? What's he like in TV, in the live action, for example? What's he like when you put him in, say, the animated series? Again, for example. Because that's where you get your real fair thing of what is Superman capable of. Because beyond that, it just gets a little fucking silly. And that Superman, I like that Superman better, because that's a powerful Superman, but not an invincible Superman. And I don't think Superman should be invincible. And they're saying, like, for example, Well, anyone who says, oh, well, Superman got beaten by Doomsday, that's like saying, oh, Goku would lose because he got one-shotted by rats, you know? But the other thing, the reason I bring up Doomsday is the fact that they're saying, oh, Superman never died. No, he fucking died. Read Green Lantern. Superman died because Necron brought him back as a Black Lantern. Specifically said, oh, Superman was one of the heroes I allowed to come back from the dead so that I would have a sleeper agent. You know? So, no, Superman is not this invincible god thing. Especially since, in DC, gods are shown to have limits, too. Like, Darkseid is a fucking god. They've said it flat out, he is a god. Wonder Woman routinely deals with gods. And they're not invincible. You know, Ares is a god. He's lost numerous times. You know? Doomsday has all the fucking powers Superman has, potentially. Because he's a Kryptonian life form. If you want to get really technical. It's just, again, I call bullshit not because of Death Battle's fault, but because of the writers of Superman, because they don't know what the fuck they're doing. You have to be consistent when you make a character like that. And they're not. And I'm not even butthurt of Goku losing, because he lost to Beerus. He flat out, unequivocally, no mistake about it, lost to Beerus. Beerus is like, dude, I wasn't even fighting at half my full power, and you can't stop me. And fortunately for Goku, Beerus is a pretty chill guy, for the most part, and didn't follow through on his, I'm gonna obliterate the Earth promise. Because otherwise, Earth was fucked. But it's just the idea that I, like lots of people, have a certain idea of who Superman is based on other things, you know? Like I said, the other media, which is how most people see him, because that's how he's consistently portrayed. Because if you want to get technical, heroes have all sorts of shit they're capable of. Like, one thing I call absolute bullshit on is the concept that Superman is anywhere near as fast as the Flash. Because the Flash is speed. That is all he is, you know. There is no other power, and Flash is fast on levels that even Superman is not. That was proven in a Justice League comic. It's one of my favorite sources to cite of how amazing the Flash is, you know. And this is probably one of the coolest things ever. And again, this is a case of the writers having no sense of actual scale, because someone computed it, and they said, in the comic they described this as just a hair's breadth short of the speed of light, when he was going so much faster than the speed of light, like hundreds of times faster. But basically there was this city, I think in South Korea, and it was just one of the cities. They'd launched something like 40-something or more nukes just to different places all over the world, and the Justice League had been just pushing themselves to stop these nukes from hitting. And Superman had been at it all day, and he got tired, which is something that they said, oh, Superman can never get tired. No, he can fucking get tired, okay? Because for Superman to do the shit that he does, he's not even a god. He's beyond a god. You know? And I think that's a shitty writing for Superman. Because even Superman should have limits, because there are an extent of things to overcome. But anyway, Superman got tired and could not catch the last one. He tried. I mean, he gave... This is Superman. You know he fucking gave everything he had to stop that. And it just wasn't enough. And so you see a news report that basically says, oh, at 7:29 a.m., and the time doesn't matter. I'm pulling it out of my ass, but we're going to say that. 7:29 a.m., this city was struck by a nuke. And this is a city that survived countless wars, etc., but it didn't survive this. It was completely wiped off the map. At 7:29 and 0.00000000001 seconds, the entire population of the city appeared on a hill like 20 miles away. And it's like they were carried there, one at a time, sometimes by twos, by one man, the Flash, the fastest man alive, moving at a hair's breadth short of the speed of light. No, he was moving so much faster. But yeah, basically the idea is Flash heard, oh shit, Superman can't get this. Well, I better step up. And went into that city ahead of Superman and grabbed every fucking person in it. Every man, every woman, every child, every pet. And moved them like 20 miles away. Or however far it was to be outside the blast radius of that nuke when it hit. Because Superman couldn't cut it, so Flash had to. And while that's amazing, the Flash rebirth moment is so much better when Barry Allen comes back. The original, okay, not the original. Don't harp on me. I know about Jay Garrick, okay, but the original Flash, you know, the Scarlet Speedster, not the Golden Age man in a t-shirt wearing a World War II cap or World War I, whatever. But he came back, and he came back wrong. Something was wrong with him where he was charged badly by the Speed Force, so that if he touched another speedster, they just rotted away to nothing. He was the Grim Reaper for speedsters. He was turning into the new Black Racer. And naturally, it terrified him, because the Flash is not just the Flash. The Flash is the Flash family. That's what I refer to them. The Flash family is... As a whole, it's Jay Garrick, Barry Allen, Wally West, Bart Allen, what's her name? Jesse Chambers, Max Mercury, Iris West, and a couple others, you know. But they're the speedsters that are in the Flash's life. So it's Jesse Quick, it's the Flash, you know, lots of Flashes, Kid Flash, Impulse, etc. All these characters make up the Flash family, and they together are the Flash, you know? Because you never fight just one. If things get bad, the others will show up, and they will show up quickly. But they're trying to get him, like, come on, Barry, you're our friend, we can solve this. And Barry's like, no, I never should have come back. Because he'd been dead for 20 fucking years. Real time, 20 years. He was one of those characters that they thought was going to stay dead forever, because he never came back. Until he did. But, so Barry hits the ground and he starts running. He's running and he's planning to do what he did the first time, and just run so fast that he re-enters the Speed Force. And he intends to stay there this time. So Superman drops the ground and he's on his foot. He's running right after Barry. And he's hot on Barry's heels, and Barry's just looking at him, and Clark, he's like, dude, Barry, we're your friends. We're the Justice League. We can do anything. We can solve this. We can answer this. It's like, no, Clark, I can't. I'm not supposed to be here. I'm not the Flash anymore. Wally's the Flash. Wally's a good Flash. And he is, but that's a conversation for later. He's like, I do not belong here. I never should have been alive. I should still be dead. You know, let me go. And Superman's still running with him. He's like, Barry, you can't run away from this. It's like, Barry, you can't get away from me. We've raced before. So many times. And I even won some of those races, Barry. You can't outrun me. And Barry looks at him like you look at a child who just said something really stupid. And he says, Clark, those were for charity. And fucking gone. Just boom. Ground's on fire. And Clark just skids to a stop like, what the fuck just happened? And by what Death Battle said, if that had been a Superman comic, he'd have caught Barry and dragged him back. Because Barry would have run to infinity, and Superman would have run to infinity times 2. Because Superman. And that's bullshit. You know? But, again, I just call so much bullshit on the stuff that Superman's done in the comics. Because it's to the result of a bad writer. Now the Flash, again, the Flash can get away with speeds like that because he is the Speed Force. Barry actually is the Speed Force. He is literally the human personification of velocity, you know? So for him to do the infinite mass punch, sure, he taps the Speed Force. Superman to do it? No, because Superman would actually have to be capable of that speed, and he's not. Superman can be outrun. No. But anyway, I've gone well over time. And it's kind of funny that for this starting out saying, oh, this is good news, I've gotten to a lot of negative shit. I'm sorry about that. But that's what this is for. This is for me to vent, to air my problems out, to tell you my good news, which is I'm doing so good on my Let's Plays. I've got 4 of them that are on the verge of being done. Yeah, okay, you're the chick. I'm like, now how the fuck did you get down here? Because I thought it was a wolf. But, again, the issues with my niece, they're really non-issues. She's not a problem. The issues we're having are just minor squabbles. It's not even that she's mad, it's that she's frustrated, and that's what she's pouncing on. I've been that level of frustrated. I've been that frustrated where I was mad at myself for doing so poorly in a tournament and snapped at Anubis. And snapped at everyone, really. And afterwards told them, look, I was out of line, I fucked up, I was taking my frustration out on you. And they're like, no, you're cool, man, we know. You didn't mean anything. But anyway, I'm Kyrix, and this has been This Week in Kyrix, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.